Well, church, we now have the joy of celebrating baptisms this morning. We have two youth who are being baptized, and baptism is a representation of what Christ has done in their lives. And they want to publicly declare that they are following Jesus Christ. And so as we listen to their testimonies, we can remember our own testimonies. As they go down into the water, representing the death of their old life, being buried with Christ, and coming out of the water, being raised with Christ to new life. It is a joy to celebrate these baptisms. So, Rebecca Ferrara, you can come on down.
I grew up in a Christian home, going to church every Sunday. I never thought anything of it. It was just what we did every Sunday morning and nothing more than that. As I got older, I began to have a lot of doubt about God and questions that I couldn't find answers to. I struggled with wanting to feel God. I wanted to know He was real in some way that I could point to. I wanted some sort of feeling or something to know He actually was real and it wasn't all made up. I needed faith. Then I began to feel like I wasn't good enough to come to God. I thought that if I fixed my life up, then maybe I could come to Him and He would accept me. The constant doubts in my mind and the constant need to try to fix my life was too much for me. It caused me for a time to just not want to believe, to be a Christian at all. It just seemed too hard to do. This all led up to youth camp last year, where I came in with a lot of uncertainty and doubt about God. Through the messages and discussions, I began to realize that I didn't need to fix anything in my life before I came to Jesus. He died on the cross for my sins and my brokenness. He wants me to come to Him as I am so He can wash me clean from my sins. So I gave my life to Him. After this, my desires to go to church and be involved in cross-culture changed a lot. I actually wanted to go to cross-culture events, and that was always something that I hated doing and was forced to go to. Now I look forward to going to cross-culture and youth camp, and even simply going to church on Sunday. I want to do this much more than I used to. And today I want to be baptized to publicly declare that Jesus died on the cross for my sins, and I want to live my life for Him.
Rebecca, based on your profession of faith, I now baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I would now like to invite Caitlin Evans.
Good morning, church. I grew up in a Christian home with two loving parents in a small town located in Indiana. Growing up there, it felt normal and almost mandatory to be a Christian. I didn't know anybody who didn't profess to not know Christ, and all my friends lived in Christian households and went to church. However, when I moved to Pennsylvania, this idea was turned on its head. At public school, I struggled to find anyone who was a Christian, and therefore my friends at school were not Christians. Even as my family joined Covenant, I felt isolated in my faith because of my school environment. Being a Christian was no longer normal in my community. It was strange. As middle school continued, I began to grow distant from God. I wanted to be perfect and appear perfect to others, even to others, through my own abilities, instead of running to God for help. These perfectionistic tendencies led me down a legalistic path where I attempted to live up to who I thought I should be while becoming more and more dejected as I continually failed to be perfect. When I sinned, I often blamed it on others or justified it instead of admitting I was in the wrong. And as I continued to make mistakes, anger built up inside of me, both against others and against myself. However, when I attended my first youth camp in 2019, my life changed. God consistently challenged me from each sermon, and on ministry night, I raised my hand when Mr. Mellinger asked who wanted to dedicate their life to Christ. Through the prayer that night, I was convicted of how my attempts to be perfect outside of God had actually caused me to drift away from Him. I didn't have to live a perfect life. Jesus had already done that for me. Instead, I need to lean on God and not on my own righteousness. Even after that night, which my 13-year-old self proclaimed as the best day of my life, which still rings true, I still struggle with sin. I still struggle with anger. I still struggle with wanting control over my life. I still struggle with attempting to be perfect outside of God. Ephesians 2:8-9 has helped me reject my legalistic view. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing, it is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. Since that night, my faith has grown through attending cross-culture meetings, the Bridge Course, and Sunday church services. God has continually met me through these meetings, along with my personal reading of His Word and prayer. I have also been more open about my faith to my friends who are unbelievers. This continual growth has switched my perspective from pursuing righteousness for my own reputation to pursuing righteousness in order to reflect God's work in my life. I am not here today because of my own works. I am here because of God's work in my heart. I want to be baptized today to publicly declare that I have put my faith in Jesus Christ and His saving work on the cross for my sins.
Amen. Caitlin, based on your profession of faith, I now baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Go blow your nose.